Okay, so recording's not working, but that's okay. So everything should be okay now. Hey, what comes here? Hey, Lachlan's here. Hey, friend. So I started the stream. I say technically slightly late. So I did start it on time, but I don't think some settings were right. So I don't think notifications went out. So no one would have known I was live. So here we are. We can get started. So happy Sunday, everyone. We are at 2 streams in 2 days. We're on to a winner. How is everyone? It's quite nice to go live and not have tech problems, so I can actually just stream because I want to, rather than getting put off because it's just not gonna work. So it's cool. But yeah, happy Sunday, everyone. So if you were here yesterday, you would have seen that one of the things I'm trying to do is migrate this blog. So this blog's on Ghost, hosted on Azure App Service, which is quite an expensive hosting solution. If you're an enterprise, it's cheap, but for someone who's just using some free credits, it burns through about 75% of them. So the idea is to move this onto something more static. And so I can use Azure static web apps. So much, much cheaper. And to be honest, as long as I can do Markdown, my requirements are pretty low key. So I like that, it's nice and simple. I bought a theme to use with this, and it's got all these nice things going on, and there's tags and stuff. So there is an advantage of it, but for me, as you can see, the last post I did was January 2020. I think it's fair to say that I don't really blog often enough to be fussy. But, Ghost is great because you can literally go to /ghost on your URL, and it will take you to the page where you can write posts. So the whole blogging experience is purely browser-based, which means that for me, for example, I've got really into writing a blog series in the past and written blog posts on the tram on my iPad. So having this whole browser-based experience is great, but I don't really blog often enough to make that a requirement. Yeah, for me, if I can just write things in Markdown and keep it simple and pretty much just reuse a load of the post Markdown I've already got, I'm sold. So I'm trying Eleventy. And if you were here yesterday, you would have seen me start to make progress with it. So we had a bit of fun with getting started, but Eleventy is just load the page. It is a very simple static site generator. So it's similar to stuff like Hugo, Jekyll, Svelte, Gatsby, I think, and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty straightforward. I'm no JavaScript developer, so the fact that this doesn't terrify me and I want to actually play with it says a lot to me. I don't even write code for work anymore, so if I'm happy to take it on, it's worth trying. So as I mentioned yesterday, I discovered Eleventy when I was at NDC Melbourne at a workshop, and so far it's been pretty good. In terms of what we got done yesterday, we managed to get the basic posts put together and then push it into an Azure static web app, which is in preview, but it's pretty straightforward. I had a couple of issues where, first of all, I was missing a package.json, so I had absolutely no idea what language my project was in. And then the second issue I had was that even though I had a package.json, I'd forgot to add the build script tags. So then it was just literally outputting the text and not doing any kind of templating processing. So we fixed that, and now it's live. All we did was follow tutorial. So as you can see, this is very simple and very pointless. It's just a couple of headers, and let's just zoom in a bit because that's tiny. But yeah, so it's just a header and some text. Now, we wrote this in Markdown, but what I really like, if you've not seen this kind of thing, these kind of text stacks before, is that if you look at the elements on the page, so if we zoom into here, just make this a bit bigger, you'll see that it's turned, this is an H1, and this is a paragraph. But if you actually have a look at Visual Studio Code for that file, all that is a page title and some text. So it's already handling turning that Markdown into HTML for you, which is really powerful. And again, all we're doing is passing it this page title. Then inside a post, we have a post.json that just says that for every Markdown file you find in this folder, use layout.liquid. So Liquid is a templating engine from Shopify, and then give it a tag called posts. So we'll cover layout first of all. So all layout is it's instead of includes, and it's just some templated HTML that we want to apply to every post. What does this work? Okay. So all we've said is just put in some basic HTML with the title, the body, then the H1. In Liquid and some other templating languages that are similar, like Nunjux, double curly brackets like this means variable. So you saw that page title variable in the YAML front matter, which is the stuff between the three dashes. So it's essentially turning that page title into a H1, and then it's putting the content in there. So content will be whatever's in that actually in the file itself. So it's just putting things together so that we can share a layout. So you can probably do a lot more with it in terms of, like, partial HTML that you insert, like headers and stuff. We'll get to all of that. The plan today is to start moving across some of the older posts and deploying it again so that we know that we've got all the images linked up and we can start putting the old posts in. Once the posts are there, then we'll start doing fancier stuff around excerpts, which is like the summary text that you see on the homepage. And so if we have a look at the page, here, if we go back, let's just close this one out. So yeah, so this is the homepage, and all it's doing is it's saying, we can have a look actually, and you can see if we go to an index somewhere, there we go. So for every post in collections.post, so collections is something that you get with, it's part of, I'm not sure if it's part of the templating engine or Eleventy, but the point is it's there. So collections is like a collection of data. It's something you don't have to create. It's just there for you, but that's where that tags that we saw come in. So we're just saying that for every post that's got the tag posts, create an H2 with the URL, the page title, and then the date. So pretty straightforward stuff. Even if, like me, you're not much of an HTML or JavaScript developer, it's fairly straightforward, and you kind of write it once and go from there. There'll be stuff I want to do later on in terms of a nicer date and all that stuff, but step by step. We have a little page that I put together yesterday, which is kind of a to-do list. So we've got it displaying a page. We've got it organized into posts, and technically we've created a template, but I just want to make sure that the template has got everything that we want. I've attempted this previously, and everything was great until I broke one part of it, but we might be able to reuse some of that template, which is helpful. So we've got the template, which is cool. So we can just start working through things. So styling, I actually think that styling should come in after. Let's just move Keycaster. There we go. That styling should come in after the posts, because as long as the content's in, I don't care about the rest. So as I mentioned, so we're going to start putting all the old posts in. So the first step will be to bring the images in, because then we can just copy and paste the markdown, and when it's got a reference to images, as long as the path is right, it should just work. So in true here's what I prepared earlier style, let's go to an earlier attempt. I should have images. Here we go. So if we copy this images, and we called it final fun. It'll get renamed later, but it was just a bit of fun. So we're just going to pop this in. Cool. So we've got images. That makes sense. So, oh yeah, I was good too, actually. So I was telling you about Azure, how Azure Static Web Apps is much, much cheaper. If we actually have a look at my custom management billing, we can see how much it actually costs. If it doesn't tell me yet, we can always just have a look at the official official thing for it. But yeah, so that's cost by resource group, and because I put it in its own resource group, it's not going to tell me. But if we go to Azure Static Web App cost, I'm pretty sure it's pretty cheap. Yeah, there you go. Look at this. So this is someone else's post about it, but sometimes actually third-party posts are better than official. Because, okay, for something like pricing, official is fine because it will tell you exactly what it will cost. But sometimes if it's like a review, you know, third-party unbiased is better. But yeah, so it's saying here, yeah, but there you go. It costs something between $1 and $5 a month. Well, that's right. It's like should be pence compared to what I have now. Okay, that's interesting. So I don't think my chat box is. Oh yeah, my chat box is showing up. Cool. So yeah, so Lachlan's just saying I deployed an Azure static app site, which is super cheap. But when I wanted to add custom domain in HTTPS, you have to go through CDN, which makes it much more expensive. Do you have a better way of doing it? Honestly, right now, no. I don't know how it's going to go with the whole custom domain thing, because at the moment I use Cloudflare for the DNS and Let's Encrypt for the SSL. And so how all those moving parts will come together when it comes to actually moving the domain, I don't know. That's a future Luce problem for now, because I don't want to take my website offline with the URL and move it over to the new one until it's ready to be live. So I guess we'll find out. But yeah, it might well be that we find out that it actually doesn't cost me any less because of CDN or Content Delivery Network, for those that don't know. But yeah, I guess like at least I would have learned something, even if that's the case. But we'll see how we go. I can always, if Azure Static Web Apps isn't the solution, I know that a lot of people deploy Eleventy blogs using Netlify free of charge. And I know quite a few people that use Netlify. So genuinely, if I find out that it's going to cost me about as much, or I'm not saving as much as I'd like, I can always switch to Netlify. But at least would have learned something. So it's not too bad. Yeah. But yeah, so today's step is just to put some posts in. So we got the images in, and so what I did for every post that I've written on my blog that I'm migrating, then it's got images in it. So the first one is Story into Code is the first one I ever wrote, and in the bottom of it I happen to include a picture where at Xamarin Evolve 2016 I met Woz. That was cool. Lachlan, did you get to meet Woz, or did you go to Evolve? Evolve was when I met Kim for the first time. That was awesome. I got a bit starstruck because I recognised him in the Starbucks. That must have been weird, being recognised in a coffee shop. Strange to look back then to think that it's like, oh my god, I don't know, spotting someone that's like, you know, Xamarin University legend, and I'm like, oh my god. Whereas obviously Kim and I have been writing Weekly Xamarin together for years now, and we text about the newsletter and other stuff. So it's always strange when you meet people and then a few years later it's like, oh my god, they're really good friends, and you look back and you just think, crazy. Oh, it's good. It is good. If you ever get a chance to go to a big conference, you should. Like NDC Melbourne this year was awesome. Like I had to attend remotely in the middle of the night, obviously. Obviously it was purely virtual anyway, but yeah, it was good fun. Like conferences are great. I'm hoping more of them stay virtual just because it opens it up to more people. But then at the same time, I quite liked my jollies, normally down to London, where I just get to be a public speaker for a few days and mingle. And I don't tend to go to conferences unless I'm speaking. And that's not because I'm like, oh my god, I'm a big deal, I have to speak. It's just conferences cost money, don't they? And even if they don't, getting there and staying there costs money. So I'd only go if my employer asked me to go, but because I don't write code as a day job anymore, like they're not likely to pay for me to go to a code conference. Plus, if I'm asking my employer to pay for all of it, I always feel guilty that the kind of stuff that I like isn't what we do at work. So I would always feel the pressure to attend things that are relevant to work. So I don't tend to go to conferences for work. So I only ever go if I'm speaking. So I go to maybe 1 or 2 a year, but it's great. Yeah, attending virtual conferences this year has definitely been good. It's different, but it's good. So yeah, as I said, we've got these images in here split into folders. So now we just need to start doing stuff. Oh, we've been live for 30 minutes. It's time to stretch. Let's do it. We're just going to arms out. Just a few stretches. Because it never hurts to just do some squats and watch my knees click. Strange doing it at this height because it's like, out of shot, back in shot. Shake the feet out, shake the wrists out. There we go. I've only been sat down for 30 minutes, but it does hurt. Oh, well, there you go. Now Nightbot will remind us every 30 minutes to just have a quick stretch. I've had Nightbot attached to my stream for ages. It's just I'd never actually got round to setting it up to do anything. And so, I need to fix that text. It's supposed to have carriage returns in it, and formatting, but apparently it doesn't do it. So I'll fix that. But yeah, essentially, I had Nightbot integrated. It's just it was not set to have any commands set up apart from the default ones, and it wasn't set up to do anything on a timer, so no one actually knew it was there. So yeah, you can do. I think we can do stuff like be like that. There you go. Yeah. So we've got a shout out set up now, which I think is important because we've got to support our friends, right? We all stream. Yeah, I don't know how often you stream, Lachlan, but I know for me, obviously I don't stream very often, but I know that you stream with Kim for the Weekly Xamarin on a Wednesday, which I always try and make. Not just because obviously I curate the newsletter, so I actually have an vested interest, but because the stream is genuinely good content. So even if you're watching this on demand, give Lachlan a follow because he's great. So yes, we've got the images. Let's start putting the posts in. So, no, not that one. Stream on my channel once or twice a month. Yeah, that's pretty much me as well. Well, I've streamed twice in 2 days now. I started the stream last year, and it was never perfect, but things just worked. Whereas, so it wasn't that tech issues were the problem. It was more like attendance. Like not many people showed up. I don't think it was necessarily the best time to stream. Like certainly yesterday, I had like at least 2 active chatters throughout the 2.5 hours I was live, which was nice because everything's better with friends, right? Well, obviously there's limits to that. It's not literally take that as a as a rule. But yeah, streaming is nicer when you've got chat to talk to. And I was finding that not many people were watching, and that might have partly been, time difference and stuff. But um, yeah, that put me off a bit. And then I decided to start streaming again. But despite using pretty much, it's exactly the same laptop and stuff, it just wasn't great. Like the people would turn up more, but then tech wasn't working, so it was forever telling me that the resolution was just appalling, or it would drop frames. Or I discovered a few weeks ago that if, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's linked to the docking station I've now got hooked up, but if the laptop lid's shut, this microphone was picking up fan noise, or whatever reason, white noise was going down the stream. So it's just silly things I've had to learn. And I'm still not 100% sure whether my laptop can handle doing Xamarin development with emulators and streaming at the same time. But at least for web development stuff, it's very resource light. My CPU is at 8% rather than constantly at 100. So that's great. So at least we're at a point now where the tech seems to be on my side, and I found something I want to stream. So hopefully I'll just keep streaming it when I feel like it, so people can just join in. I know some people would expect me to be streaming Xamarin because that's what I'm known for, but we've all got to learn new things, right? And there's plenty of people who stream Xamarin content who know far more than I do. So I did want to stream at some point, migrating is the wrong term. I have a Xamarin Forms app that I wrote that I demo at talks, but also actually use in the real world. But I've not updated it since I wrote it 2 years ago. So it's at that point now where actually almost a new branch and starting from scratch is going to be easier than trying to update it all. And I was going to do that on stream, but until I'm sure that it can handle it, we're just going to stick to web development. So yeah, here we are doing an Eleventy blog. So let's just grab our posts back. So we've got images, but if we have a look in one of these, not that one. Coding with Luce. Let's have a look. One of these should have all the posts. Nope. Coding with Luce blog. Nope. Maybe I don't have it. Well, that's annoying. Okay, well that's okay. We'll just have to start from the beginning. Let's just check the bin. End up in site. Aha. I know it's the HTML, isn't it? So how can we get the markdown? Posts. Okay, there we go. So we've got the post back. Now these aren't going to work because they'll have some front matter in the top of them, which paste in, all right. It'll have some front matter that's not correct, but we can go through each of them and fix it. I just want to get the content in for now. I decided not to work. There we go. So that's just adding them all in. So here we go. So what I do know is that if we go to blog post, all it should have at the top is, we don't need layout anymore because that inherits in that post.json. We don't need it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to so we're going to change our layout to use title, and we don't need that either. So if we go to that includes dimensions, it's looking for something called page title. So we're just going to change it to be title. And then just make sure we don't need to do anywhere else. Post.title. And then the other thing we need to get from here possibly is the date. So we'll try date like that and see how it handles it. So all this is just markdown, so it shouldn't need anything doing to it. But what we need to do essentially is do this for all of them. So what we can do is do a find and replace for exactly this and just get rid of it. So is that whole word? There we go, yeah. There you go. So we dragged in 35 files and we changed one of them. So 34 is right. So we know that if we do a find and replace now, it will go through and do it all. So if we do that, so it's going to put an extra space in, but that's okay. We can take out technically we don't need that tag, but we'll leave it in for now because it's not going to break it. Because it does this Eleventy does a hierarchy. So with this YAML front matter at the top here, if you didn't specify the tags, it would inherit them from that post.json file here. But if you want to overwrite it, you can then specify it at this level, and that's what it will do. So by leaving it in, we're not actually going to make things any worse. So that's helpful. So if we save this now, I'm just going to quickly jump into preview to make sure the paths are right. Although, I need one with a picture. So if we, let's just close all of these. I'm going to pick one that I know has got a picture in it, like build day one. Okay, so that's not got an image because I haven't got around to doing it yet. Summon in action should have one. Diving in, there we go. So the path might look strange here and not work. Yeah, so this isn't going to work, but the reason for that is because so it's partly going to be a case sensitivity, but another reason might be that when you run Eleventy, what it does is it goes through and finds every markdown file it can, and then spits them out into this _site, which is the default output folder. You can change it in config, but I've got no reason to change it. It then creates a folder for every file. Every markdown file. It finds the name, creates a folder for it, and then creates an HTML with that content in. But because it's buried inside this images folder, the relative path when it's deployed and in site will be different to when it's locally. So the preview and code won't work, but the level should be right. If you go site, so it should go up one. So it's going to start here. It's going to go up one into posts, then up one again into site, and site should deploy images, but I might be wrong. We'll have to test this out. But yeah, essentially it's gone ahead for us and made all this HTML. It's even put lists in, so it's pretty cool. But we need to replace all images with the word images. Replace. Okay, that was very bold, so this could backfire. But we'll see how we go. So if we go back to terminal, and there you go. So this is clever. So I'll kill this off for now, but no, I won't. I'll leave it running. So what I actually started doing yesterday and forgot to even stop, so it's just handled all this out of the box beautifully, is I ran a command, ignore this broken stuff. That was me learning yesterday. Here we go. So you can, it's not doing it. Okay, so essentially you can run in a command called Eleventy. So we'll do it here. So Eleventy -- serve, what that will do is it will spin up a local host with it will go through, it will compile everything, and then it will write to it. But it also has browser sync and watch, essentially. So as soon as I put all that stuff in posts, it automatically compiled them all. And that's how we got this stuff here. So if we just run that again, we can load that. So if we go to our browser, I'm going to do this in Firefox. No, load Firefox. So I normally use Edge, but I use Firefox nightly as my browser for web development. So if we go to localhost 8080 posts, blog post. Okay, so if we go back to here to the root. Okay, so that's broken, very broken. Why is that? It might be to do with tags. So the first thing it's picked up is my alumni panel stuff. Let's have a look what's going on. So that was the one that we actually played with. So let's take the date out. We'll come back to date because I still want the dates to actually be accurate. So we've got alumni panel. So what we might need to do is take out all of this stuff. I have to do this for every single one. Fun and games. That's okay. Thankfully I don't have that many posts. The mouse gone. There we go. So these are duff, but and blog post 2. Okay, so really what every post should have is only the title. So we can just go through and do that for every single one. Take out the date stuff. So obviously this will take a minute to do, so it's not the most entertaining, but hopefully it'll at least lead to stuff working again. We can elaborate on it to make it better afterwards. So let's just get rid of that. Yeah, it's always nice remembering when I met Mops. Take out those two. So yeah, this is the boring, like, admin-y stuff. Is anyone else working on any fun side projects at the moment? Like, it sounds like being in the doctor's office, but tell me about you. Because let's be honest, no one's going to learn that much from watching me delete some stuff. Let's just close everything. Build day 2, build day 3, build day 4. Okay, so we've done all them. Take out these. Because you worry, don't you, that stuff like deleting a load of stuff repetitively isn't very entertaining on stream. But if we're going to be genuine about experiences as developers, we copy and paste, we Google things. Oh yeah, I saw that you've been playing with mobile Blazor bindings. How's that going? I've not really tried it myself because I want to, and I have seen it in action, but Corey Weathers, or CLW on Twitch, he's awesome, actually. I'm going to give him a shout out because he deserves it. He does Blazor and he loves it, but I started, it's not live at the moment, so I can't share because I turned it off to save credits, but I spun up as a joke a ASP.NET Core MVC app that lives on Azure App Service, which is just, so like all of us, Corey's terrible, and I'm guilty as anyone at this, of starting a project that we never finish. And so during one of his streams, when he yet again did File New, I started a joke website, which is how long has it been since Hurricane last hit File New? Only a few hours and a wink face. And so Corey loves it and he's run with it, and we're starting to work on making a whole Blazor app out of it where you can actually have a countdown. He'll have a to-do list of what projects he started and not finished. Like, he's making a whole product out of it. It's going to be awesome. But one of the things he's going to do is have me on stream as a guest to teach me Blazor as we start to work on the website. And so to make the experience as a guest organic, where people are genuinely watching me learning Blazor for the first time, I'm avoiding Blazor at all costs so I don't learn too much. So I want to play with mobile bindings, but I'm avoiding it just so that I to avoid doing it, just so that I can like just be genuine when I'm learning stuff. So that's where we ended up. You feel targeted. Why do you feel targeted? I want to learn. Do want to learn blazer mobile bindings. It's just, as I said, I can't learn too much too quickly. So, me too. If you have a look at, here you go. This is my projects folder. That's what I'm working on, needing updating after 2 years. These are different attempts at the blog. These are just counter apps of different versions that I've got from demoing talk. So they're technically finished. This one is someone else's project, not finished. Someone else's project, which is how you can deploy Ghost to Azure. That's the app, the ASP.NET app I was telling you about, that literally just says about how long I've been since I started a new project. But anything like this, it's an actual project with a purpose. Most of them are not finished. So yeah, I can feel you. Let's be honest, we're developers. When do we ever finish a project? I think the only people who finish projects are, well, James finishes projects, but that's just because the guy's a machine. But us mere mortals tend to have a lot of unfinished projects. So yeah, you and me both, my friend. You and me both. So, done that one. Done that one. I'm hoping that this project I've started will actually be completed, because it'll be nice if I can learn styling. You know, we can migrate the blog and make it look the same / very similar. Yeah, exactly. It's everyone. Yeah. You only feel targeted if you feel guilty about it, but I can assure you that we're all like it. But yeah, so I'm hoping that this project will actually get finished, because most of it is done for us thanks to thanks to Eleventy. The main thing will be the styling, but I'm terrible with CSS and stuff, and I recently learned a little bit of the CSS grid and flex layout at NDC Melbourne, and it's really not that scary and actually quite a lot of fun. So I just thought maybe I just need an actual purpose to learn CSS, so that's what this is about. So kind of the building blocks at the minute, all my posts are here now as Markdown. We just need to sort the front matter. So once that's in, we can actually start focusing on, you know, tweaking the styling and formatting, and, you know, making the homepage look nicer, and then making each blog post look nicer. Like, it's not too bad. Oh, yes. Lots went wrong during my last talk. This is what I learned. I remember this. So I was at, so I spoke at Xamarin Expert Day in Cologne last October. And yeah, essentially I updated Visual Studio. I got ballsy and updated Visual Studio about 2 hours before I went live. Everything was fine except Xcode didn't match anymore, and so it wouldn't run the projects unless I put the linkers on. But then with the linkers on, hot reload didn't work, and it wasn't fun. So yeah, I just read a talk about not being silly. And then this one is another example of lessons learned. A lot of my blog just seems to be things I've learned. So that one about missing content is because I was trying to learn. What was I trying to learn? Oh, I was doing stuff with Azure Functions, I think, and I didn't. I just wanted to deploy it, but I did the whole right-click publish thing in Visual Studio Code because I thought, hey, you know, it's fine. It's only a playground. What's the worst that can happen? I'd created the resource group or whatever it was, or the function in the portal, but it wasn't showing up. So I just thought, oh, well, I'm only playing around. I'll just pick the one that's actually showing up until I can solve that problem. Yeah, that was my blog. So I lost I lost a few posts that hadn't been backed up. So that was fun. But it's okay, we learn. My day job is still all Blazer at the moment. Spend most of the time fighting CSS. Yeah. I mean, I know lots of people who are less scared of CSS and know it well, so, you know, we can all learn together and share knowledge and stuff. But yeah, my CSS is awful. I'm all right with the basics. It's just once you start having to troubleshoot because you've got the whole, you know, cascading specificity thing causes you nightmares. That's when I start getting to a point where I'm like, ooh, that's where I go wrong. So I'm hoping that by doing this on stream, not only will someone else learn from it too, but we can learn together. Because, yeah, I'm sure things can improve. I mean, you know, at some point I may even end up with a guest. Who knows? I'm having Stephen on at some point when I do my other app, that body language assistant you saw, because he's going to help me make it look less trashy out of the box. But until I solve that I can run Xamarin on stream without bottling my laptop and it just leading to a poor experience for viewers, that's not happening. Plus, but we are on a deadline because he won't be available from October. So I'll get there eventually, but one thing at a time, right? A few more to go. Get in there. And we get to run it all and see what happens. That'll be interesting. The accents. So some of this stuff we might put back in, but for now I'm just going to strip it right back. We've just got the title and then we can worry about the rest afterwards. Xamarin in Action is such a good book. Fun. But we're getting there. If anyone's watching this and has any questions, by the way, don't be afraid to just ask. I know at the moment what I'm doing is deleting some stuff, but if you've jumped in and wondering what we're doing, for example, just let me know. Let's get these. I wrote a lot of posts reviewing this book, but it was such a good book. Just close all these afterwards. Right, save that. There we go, last one. So because we did a -- serve and it's running a live server with watch attached, it should have automatically done it. Huzzah! There we go. So it's given them all the same date. So we do need to work on that. And so I don't know whether we can just change the date to be in that format and then we'll format the date later. We'll soon find out, I guess. Yeah. So if we go back to the code now. So we know that all the posts work. So that's a good start. If we just pick one, like alumni panel, so take a date. The date will be 20. I don't know what date this is from. Let's find out. This one's easy enough to do because we just look at my existing website. So let's see. Okay, we'll do review of 2019. That'll do because we know it's January the 6th. So if we have a look at that layout folder, I think at the moment it doesn't handle date in the front matter. Oh no, it's just a title. Post and collection. Yeah, so it does handle date, so we just need to give it a date. So if we change this, can we format it better? Can we do it the other way around? So it would be percent D dash percent month dash percent year in full. How's that look? We don't have to worry too much. We still have to put the date in, but we don't have to worry about doing fancy things with the date if it's gonna. Yeah, there we go. I can work with that. Maybe. We'll work on it afterwards anyway. So we've got the date in, but we want to see if we front load the front matter the date, whether it will apply. So if we go to alumni panel and we say that the date is 2020. No, it wasn't that one. We're going to do review of 2019. There we go. So we know that this was date will be 06/01/2020. So if we save that now and come back to the site, what do we see? So it's moved. That's a good start. Review of 2019. That not change. Okay, that didn't work. Why? Okay, so we can fix the date thing because if we go to the Eleventy docs, I found a tutorial that I originally followed that did talk about the whole formatting the date thing, so we can actually learn from it. So things started. Alright, it's a better one somewhere. Oh no, that is the one. Where was it? Tutorials. Introduction. Oh, it might have been this one. Creating a blog with Eleventy. Hold up. Is it this one? So you create the project, serving it up. Yeah. Creating a homepage. Yep. Put a date in. But look. So you serve up the site with Eleventy. Got the base layout, and then so that's fine. But so let's talk about the tags. There we go. So the date isn't formatted in a nice way. So we've got moment. Is moment installed? Let's find out. New tab. We go to CD projects. Hang on, let me zoom in. CD coding with Luce F. And then just check we're at the right level. Yep. So we're going to do npm install moment --save-dev. And it's talking about Eleventy configuration. So let's copy that. So we need a .eleventy.js file. So that's essentially, yeah, setting up the project. So if we just make sure that we're at the right level, we can do a .11 can't spell .eleventy.js. If we put that in, So what this is doing is it's using Moment, which is a JavaScript date library, and it's saying that we're going to add a filter called date ISO, which will take the date and then return it as an ISO string. And then we add another filter which makes it readable. So we take the date and we return it in that format, so it's nice like that, which is what we want. I think that looks nicer. But we now need to look at, well, how do we tell it to use that? So there you go. So update the basic template to use that. So if we come back to what would be our index page, let's pop that in. So that's going to be set the time for the date. Nice. So we've done that. So now if we look at the page again, all right, it's not doing it. What's going on? What have I missed? Getting any errors in the terminal? Problem writing Eleventy templates. Date front matter value is invalid for... Oh, does it need to be the other way around? Let's quickly have a look. So, go back to the, not downloads, go to the bin, posts. Just drag this to the desktop so we can look at it. Open with code review. So it should be like that. Okay, we can do that. So, it should be... How do we write it? So it was... forgotten already. Like that. Okay. So it should be 20, 20, 01, 06. Is that going to work? That's a good start. So if we have a look now, there we go. So we've got a much nicer looking date now. So still no styling whatsoever, but so do another quick shout out to Amy. So Amy's a front-end developer from Perth, and she's awesome. She was the one that ran the workshop at NDC Melbourne that got me into Eleventy, but also made CSS a bit less scary. And when I spoke to her about moving my blog to Eleventy and learning CSS, she basically said to me that the most important thing to do first is actually get the HTML building blocks put together. And so that's what we're doing. So it looks trash, but at least we're just working on it bit by bit. The dates are all wrong, but if we go to review, is review at least going to work? Review. Yeah, there you go. So it's currently oldest first, but that's okay. We can sort that out bit by bit. If you have a look at that tutorial. So that's talking about excerpts. I'm just quickly looking because it's currently in the wrong order. Okay, so anyway, let's fix the dates first. So this is where we need to go through and get the dates for everything. Fun. Okay, so this is going to be one of those. Not that one. Right, come on. So normally you can hold this down and it lets you pick where it goes, but okay, right. So anyway, so we just want to go through and add the dates in. So we know that story into code, which is here, the date is going to be 2017 0622. Just close these as we fix it. So we've done that one. Eventually, this stream will stop being just repetitive tasks. We'll get to the bulk of it. So next at the bottom, Xamarin. Here we go. So this one is going to be 2017 0824. Oh, that's 3 years ago tomorrow. Right. Cool. And then we've got oh, here we go. RD day one. Nice. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. If you've got any questions, let me know. Like, a lot of this stuff, we're getting to that point now where, apart from carrying on following that blog that we were just looking at, which I followed previously, where I know as much as anyone else, as in, like, not a lot. So we'll work on it as we go. But yeah, essentially, I wanted to do this on stream so that we can kind of crowdsource learning together, but also it means that it's in a video and people can watch it and learn from it, and hopefully I can even blog about moving the blog, because if this works, fantastic, and hopefully I can just be like, it's gone from costing me this much to this much. So we'll see how we go. But yeah, so this was, let's just put the date in, so that's December the 1st. I remember this. It was in a city/town in the UK called Leicester, which is now well known because it was the first place to go into a proper lockdown again after we came back out. But it's got a national space centre, and kind of back when there was more funding for everything, Microsoft would host MVPs, community leaders, and regional directors for an event. So we went to the space centre. Had a really fantastic couple of days, actually. So that was good. But what date was the second one? This will be the 2nd. But yeah, so it was a really, really fun trip. But I was so excited that I actually wrote and released day one blog post while I was sat in my hotel room. Well, that's what happens when you get a bunch of, well, I wasn't an MVP at the time, actually. I was invited as a community leader who just got on really well with what is now obviously my community program manager as an MVP. But yeah, I just got an invite and it was great. Okay, what's December the 1st? 2 posts in a day, impressive. Alright, I'm going to put the 2nd because I would have thought I released it the day after, because oh no, I might have done it on the same day actually, because I think I had day one, then wrote this blog post, sat in my hotel room after breakfast the morning after, and then on the train home I wrote day 2. But we've done that one. Just get rid of all this space, right? So done that one. Next up is Hack 17, and I came runner up. Hype. That was so much fun. I love hackathons. I actually saw a thing yesterday that Major League hackers are looking to hire Major League hacker coaches, so to go to hackathons and work as a coach for attendees, which I'm totally down for. I might actually apply if I can. I briefly looked at the form on my phone, but it seemed to mention about being a student. Nothing else that was said about the student. It was only on the form, but it worried me a bit. I wanted to look into it, but yeah, hackathons are such fun that I would love to get involved more. I did do a lot of work with a non-profit organisation here in my city that does a lot of hackathons for adults, youth, game jams, and all sorts of stuff related to that. But unfortunately, because the whole experience is better in person, and obviously no one's going to sponsor events that aren't happening, they've temporarily ceased business for now. But that was always a lot of fun, so I might look into that. Where are we? So, tempting to go. Ooh, it says ooey next, or we, however you want to say it. I love we. It's the console and the Frank Kruger library. To the point that I actually wrote a blog post about it. So this was January 18th, 2018. I blogged so much more regularly back then. But then I was very slowly starting to creep into like community stuff. Like, I don't know about you, Lachlan, like what order you got into anything that you do, but for me it was blogging first, then public speaking slowly creeped in, and then from public speaking and the kind of the move to streaming being a bit more prevalent in the coding space, like a lot more streamers are streaming code now. That's what made me just go, well, I public speak, so streaming can't be that bad. So that's where that came from. But yeah, so I blogged a lot more back then because it was all I did. Whereas now I have a lot more going on. Right, now we need to go back to page 6. Now we've got Android and fast boot. I'm never writing this blog post. Public speaking first and only blog now and then. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, like for me, as I said, it's the other way around. I blogged first and then got into public speaking, but I do a lot more public speaking now than I do anything else. Next up is AVD. What did I call it? Some content. Oh, there we go. New AVD manager. Okay, so the date of that is 01/29. No, 19. Compile bindings next. I remember this. So the thing what's quite nice about this is putting all these blog posts in reminds me of, like, gets me thinking about what led to these blog posts being written and what was going on at the time. So, like, here in Manchester in the UK where I live, we have a .NET user group called .NET North, which is actually one of the largest in Europe with thousands of members. And so I started a Xamarin user group here, but I found that the attendance tended to be quite low, and it could be quite at first it was easy to find speakers, but just generally having a good venue and having people show up proved quite difficult. And I just realised that I was fighting a battle with a massive .NET user group who had Xamarin speakers anyway. So this compiled bindings post is actually when it first came out. So I don't know if you've probably seen David Britch, who does a lot of the docs. He lives in a suburb of Manchester, so he came to my user group. He always attended anyway, but he actually came and gave a talk on compiled bindings, and it just blew my mind because, let's be honest, we all remember those dark, dark days where our XAML bindings had a typo in them, and we didn't notice because it didn't tell you. Not compile time anyway. 2018 02 25. Next is, so we've got Xamarin in action next. Okay, we'll get there with these. So 2018 03 02. Xamarin in action 2 and 3. It's from the 4th. 2018 03 04. So these all got written close together because I was really enjoying the book. That was right. 4 and 5, yeah. So 4 and 5 is from the 7th. Can't believe I managed to write a whole blog series reviewing a book in the space of a few weeks. But that's what happens when you're having fun. 03 07. Next up, we're back to page 5. So we're on page 5. We're getting there slowly. Once this stuff is done, the kind of repetitive tasks should hopefully stop because we'll have formatted the date. Excerpts is something that I can worry about later because without the excerpt stuff in there, we can put excerpts in for new posts, but old posts will just use the first paragraph, and that's, as you can see here, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I might even leave out the excerpts thing because, yeah, this is good enough. But yeah, we can just get the HTML in and then we can start moving things around. Yeah, exactly. Migrating them all is a trip down memory lane. So true. Like packing all your old stuff into boxes when you're moving house. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like a lot of these, as I mentioned, this is the series that I was writing when I ended up writing stuff on the tram on my iPad, which moving to doing things like this, moving the blog to Eleventy, because we'd have to be doing everything as a because it's a you'd have to do stuff in the code. You wouldn't necessarily be able to do it on the move, but if I had a laptop on me, I could just do it locally anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. And let's be honest, I think we all probably do our best content if we're actually sat at a desk properly. So this is probably a blessing in disguise. Where are we at? We're at 6, 7, and 8. Yep. That's March the 14th. Date 2018, 3/14. And then 9 and 10 is the 23rd. So these get slightly further apart, but this is because we actually started writing code, and so I had to write the code out following the book and troubleshoot 28 of the 3rd, 23rd. But I mean, within 10 days of each other isn't too bad. 11 and 12. 24th. All your markdown files just been a Git repo. Well, so this is the problem. So oh yeah, Markdown has been a Git repo. Yeah, you can write Markdown. It was more the whole process of pulling the code down, making the changes, saving it, and then pushing it up to GitHub again. But I suppose you could just do it. Yeah, I suppose you could do it from the GitHub website, couldn't you? You could just go into the repo and create a new Markdown file. That could work. Yeah, there you go. So you've helped me see that already one of my very rare problems that I could have faced with this is already solved. And this is why I like doing things together. So let's just do 24th. So 2018, 03, 24. Let's make sure that that's 11 and 12. Yep. Next up, we've got April the 10th. So getting a bit further apart. Date. It was more the whole version control thing on an iPad that got me scratching my head. But yeah, you could just do it on the website. It doesn't really matter too much. I have a keyboard anyway, one of the like smart keyboard case things that you can get for it, so I'd have been fine. So date 2018 0410. And then that was 30. There's an app called Working Copy. Yeah, I've heard that. I need to look into it, I think. I might have installed it previously, but kind of in a very specific use case in a workshop, I think, where then afterwards I didn't need to. I try not to, but I've edited files on GitHub on my iPhone from the pub in emergencies. Wow, now that's dedication, that is. I think, yeah, on the tram is the most that I've done. So we're at 14. 14, yeah. But I like the dedication doing it from the pub. Next we're at 15, which is on the next page. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't even know why I'm thinking too much about it, really, because yes, once upon a time, as you can see from this, I sat and wrote a lot of blog posts in a short space of time, but I don't see much anymore. So, we were at 15, yeah, that's on the 23rd. Date 2018 04/23. And then we're at 16. can do 0425. And then we're at the summary, which is on the same day. Getting there. Date 2018 0425. Creating this website by experience. Okay, so we're going to leave this blog post out because it doesn't actually apply anymore. Because it'd be a blog post about a website that isn't how we made the website anymore. So we can script to build day one. Build day one. And that was 2018 05/16. Oh man, build 2016 was so good. Like, obviously, I wish I'd been able to stay for longer because, you know, jet lag and like build is very full on and everyone at Microsoft's in like Microsoft mode. And so I got to meet a load of cool people, but I think it would have been nice to, I say arrive early, but people be focused on build. So maybe afterwards they might be tired, but they'll still be around. Like, it would have been nice if I could have stayed a few days afterwards, but I already had to fund the flights and the hotel myself because I got gifted a free ticket by the developer advocates team. So I'm very, very flattered, and I had an amazing time. But yeah, jet lag hit a bit, and also like being at a giant convention with thousands of people in it. And they had like a expo space where you could go, you know, to like the Xamarin booth and like booths for products and Microsoft products, but also like sponsors and stuff. The expo was amazing with a load of free stuff, but it had no windows or anything because it was in the middle. And so, you know, without the natural light and stuff, it was just all a bit physically draining. And so it would have been nice if I could stay a bit longer to adjust and kind of take in Seattle and hang out with people outside of Build more. But still one of the best trips I ever took. And one day I'll make it back to Seattle because I love that place. The flight was long, but it was such good fun. Page 3. We're doing cool. So build day 2. Yeah, this is fun. A friend of mine in the community, the Mitch Munster, famous for being the only person to take every single Xamarin University class. He was kind enough to pick me up from the airport when I landed. And he took me to my hotel and stuff. But then the next day, we drove for an hour or so up to the Boeing factory. And that was awesome. We got to take a tour and stuff and see some real life planes. And then build day 3, which is the 18th as well. 2000, no, not 19. Cool. Then build day 4 is June the 2nd. I took a break at this point because this is around the time that my friends got married. Then they got married on the 16th, but I think I just had a lot going on at the time. But that was such a great wedding, out in the countryside. 0602. And then we're at 5, 6, and 7. And that's June 3rd. So that's oh no, June the 3rd we said. And then cool, MVP journey. Oh, this is fun. I always remember, like, where I was when I found out I became an MVP thing. I was at work. I'd just started a new job. It was like my second week, I think. Yeah, it would have been my second week because it was the 1st of June and I started on the 21st of May. But yeah, it was my first week on a new job. And like, I didn't get the job because I knew somebody, but the reason I knew about the company and the job was because a good friend of mine that's one of the co-organizers, like .NET User Group, he works at the company, still does, still as wonderful as ever. But yeah, so I just remember I was at work and I just remember bursting into tears because I just wasn't expecting it. I thought it was something to aim for, because when I was at Build, quite a few developer advocates were saying to me, oh, I've, campaigned for you to become an MVP, or are you an MVP yet, and all that stuff. But I wasn't expecting that email that day, so that was a very emotional moment. But like you say, it's a trip down memory lane. Give a long talk. There we go. So, first talk. So this was 15th. So yeah, so I actually gave a talk at the same .NET user group, and that was my first ever long talk. And that was awesome. So that was 2018. A bit nerve-wracking because I had to stretch it out a bit because pizza was late. Because a lot of user groups, it was kind of, you have two speakers, one will be before the break and one will be after. I was before the break because I wanted to get it out of the way so I could then enjoy the rest of the evening. But the pizza delivery was late, and so they got me to eke it out. So that was a bit scary, but apart from that, it went really well. And people from work showed up to support me, which was really nice. Intro to UI test is August 23rd. Oh my god, no hands! As I say, about UI test. 2018, 08, 23. Because I did things in a bit of a strange order when it comes to public speaking. So I've been thinking about getting into public speaking for a while, and the great Dylan Beattie did a really kind offer on Twitter where he basically said that if you want to submit to a conference, send me your call for papers. I'll do a review on it and give you some feedback. So I put together a call for papers just for a concept. I hadn't even written the talk at this point. And so I use that call for papers to submit to a conference that he actually helps organise called, it doesn't run anymore, but used to run, called Prognet in London. So I submitted a talk to speak at that, but then, so I hadn't even written the talk, but I didn't want to rock up to a conference and the first time I gave a talk to be at the conference. So I got a slot at the user group so I could give that talk for the first time. So that really helped. Azure DevOps. That is September the 28th. 09/28. There we go, Hack 2018. Yeah, so to mention, I love hackathons. And I went to a hackathon and won with the team. All-female team. We had a great time. Learnt a lot. Took care of ourselves. Even slept. Which is one of the reasons we won, because we did hourly sprints. We had a board, we talked about what we'd learned. We did pair programming. It was a pretty unusual way of doing a hackathon, because let's be honest, most people rock up to a hackathon and stay up all night and, down the fizzy drinks, whereas, we were drinking tea, chatting to people, getting natural light, going for walks, doing stretches. It's good. Which reminds me, I'm surprised Nightbot's not told us to stretch. Oh well, maybe it's not been 30 minutes yet. That was that one. It was fun. This is the thing, isn't it? Is that excuse me. Everyone thinks that you rock up to a hackathon. Like I said, it's about downing the energy drinks and being all macho and smashing through code all through the night. But let's be honest, none of us are at our best and we've not slept properly. So those of us who are morning people, so in our team there's 4 of us. 2 of them were night owls and 2 of us were morning birds. And so we went home and slept, but then we came back super early, whereas our night owl friends had actually stayed until 4, at least one of them had stayed till 4 in the morning. So we had a Trello board and everything, so we came back to, have an email and a Trello board that knew where we were at. Even though we all got sleep, in fact, the code was never left alone for more than a couple of hours. So, most people think that you should just stay up all night. But we're a testament to regular breaks, bit of process, and sleep isn't all bad. We didn't set out to win, we just wanted to do things our way. And we all like process and taking care of ourselves. Oh, cool. So you've done mini hacks with Xamarin presentations and an afternoon hack. Nice. Yeah, like it's not that Xamarin's not big here because it is. It's just Xamarin tends to be either based in London or more. You do some other .NET stuff, then Xamarin might come into it. So it's not like I could just get a Xamarin job. And there's not that many like dedicated Xamarin events. But that's okay. To be honest, the thing with hackathons as well is that it's about learning something new. And so there was no point. I wouldn't have learned anything if I'd done Xamarin. I mean, I would have done, don't get me wrong, but it just would have been a bit of a cop out to go, oh yeah, well, I'm already considered an expert on this subject, so let's just sit and hack with it. Like, just learn something. From my experience, when you're at hackathon events, one of the things that they really enjoy most is learning about like what you've learned along the way. So it's not just about what you made; it's about your process and how you got there. And so, actually learning stuff is a good thing. So for us, it was great to be able to say that, like, yeah, we pick stuff that we don't know. Back to page 1, we're getting there. A few more posts. So we're at missing content. Date is 2019. 06:30. It's a shame I lost some content doing this because in June last year, after every build every year, Microsoft send MVPs around like to different locations to run inside of dev tour events where they share the input, like share things back from build, but it means that Microsofties don't have to do it because they've just had to deal with build, which is a lot of pressure and time, and so they get to relax while the MVPs obviously no. So Microsofties are involved in the organising, but in terms of a lot of the work and the content, it's MVPs. And so I actually did 3 in the space of a week, which involved being in 2 different parts of the UK and then going to Belgium. So I wrote a blog post, but never got backed up. So that's lost into the ether. I could have rewritten it, but it just wouldn't have been as fun. So some posts got lost, which is a shame. But that's okay. MVP renewal, June the 8th. I need to write a renewal post for this year, but I know it's July the 8th. Sorry. 0708. There we go. Transitioning, that's the alumni panel. That's September. 1909. That was fun as well. I happened to when I was at uni in my final year, we had a PhD student who also did teaching on the side and like mentoring and stuff. And I used to go and see him all the time, almost weekly. And we became friends to the point that like we follow each other on Twitter. And so he reached out to me last year and was like, "Oh, I've seen from Twitter that you're successful because obviously I'm an MVP and I public speak and stuff." And they were doing a panel for returning students, and I got invited to be on that. So I just wrote out the questions on here so anyone that missed it could read. It's a very nice trip down memory lane. What's this one? First talk. Infant talk. There we go. Date. That's October 30th. Getting there. Back to October. And then review. I've done that one. So that should be every post now. If we... Oh, didn't mean to close code. Okay, right. So, if we have a look here. Yeah, so we've got all the posts in with the date now. It's just in the wrong order. And we also want to do pagination, I think, because you. But the main thing is, look, we have our post of the date, and this calls for a victory sound effect if this works. Ooh, ooh. Nice. So, cool, we've got the content up. So if we go back to that blog post, just see if there's anything else that we might want to add in. So that was the poem page. Okay, so that's where we can do pagination. Oh, okay, reverse true, that's what we want. So if we go to our posts, and put this in the front matter. So we've done that one. Whoop. So if we go back to over here, let's see. We've lost that now, but it's okay. We know what we want to do. So if we go to this page here, and into here, we're going to add that. So we're saying that for all the things tagged with post, have up to 10 of them, put them in reverse, and the alias is posts, so that we can use it in here. So if we go back to this page now and refresh. Okay, so that's not worked. What's going on? Are we going to get some errors in console? Yep, there we go. Date front matter value is invalid for first talk. It's broken for all of them. Oh my god, they're all broken. But that worked. Oh, what am I doing? Oh, it's the same for all of them. Wait, what? Where have I put that? Let's see. There we go. So the first talk was 08. 15. Try that again. Look, stop complaining now. That seems to be okay. Nice. So that's that sorted. So we're actually going to move the date. So one of the things I want to do is I want to say that this comes before the name. So you'll see, you saw earlier that we did the stuff with date around that date ISO and the date readable. And so this is where this filters thing comes in with Eleventy. Well, I don't think it's Eleventy, it might actually be non-jux liquid, because they're separate templating engines, but they're so similar, it's unbelievable. So it's saying that for the post date, apply this filter, but also apply this other filter. So for both of them, apply these filters to it inside of a time tag. So if we go back to here, nothing looks any different, but okay, so one of them's not changed. Yeah, see all of these transitioning. So I thought I changed the date on the alumni panel. Or is that right? No, none of them should be 2020. What's going on? Posts, alumni panel. Yeah, that's right. What's going on? Okay, we'll get to that. Let's just see. Okay, so choosing that layout. Oh, hey Glenn, nice to see you. Welcome. So what we're doing at the moment is this is currently my blog, and it's a ghost blog hosted on Azure App Service, which costs quite a few of my MVP credits. So we're just migrating it over to use a static site generator called Eleventy. And so we've got the basics in with all the posts and the site, and it looks terrible, but we've got all the posts in. I'm just trying to solve issues at the moment around date. But yeah, all you've missed so far, Glenn, is just us sat here, either deleting stuff or adding in a date for every post. So you've almost come at a good time because things are actually starting to be more like step forward rather than just boring, repetitive tasks. Poor Lachlan sat and watched it all. Mm. Yeah, Kat, you're not the first person to say that to me recently. Like Lachlan said it earlier, and some others have said the same. I love Ghost, and I love that it's hosted on Azure. I did originally have it hosted by Ghost themselves, but it costs like $200 a year, which I just wasn't comfortable spending. So I moved it over to Azure App Service because and then it's nice and cloud hosted. And I found a GitHub project where someone had actually done the work to move it across, but it's essentially it worked, but it was just a bit expensive, and I think quite a few of us feel the same. But Ghost is nice, but I'm not sure it's worth the cost. So if something like static site generators like Eleventy or Hugo or Jekyll or anything like that, if we can run them on a static website, it'll be much, much cheaper. Mine's on DigitalOcean and it cost me $8 a month. Nice! Yeah, mine was costing me a fortune. So, yeah, it's about $8 a month is 80. It's like $96 a year, which isn't too bad, and it's much more affordable. But I knew that you could get it on Azure, and so that's when I was like, well, let's do it. I get free credits as an MVP. Let's make the most of it. Oh, I need to fix that bot, but it works. We're good. So, yeah. So at the moment, I'm just trying to solve the date thing because these should be in reverse order, but they're not. And also, some of them, the date doesn't seem to have been picked up. Let's see. Why is it? So look, I was contemplating creating a GitHub action to generate this site to a static site, just checking markdown/images. Yeah, so this is essentially what this is doing. So, it's using Eleventy, and so because I've got Eleventy running at the moment, every time it sees anything has changed, it rewrites the pages. And so it turns all Markdown into HTML pages for you, and it follows this whole output folder. I chose to put everything in posts. Then it creates a folder for the name of the Markdown file, and then it makes an index.html for those pages, and it generates the HTML from your Markdown. So that's super helpful, and it supports Azure static websites. So if we go ahead now and commit this, I actually set it up yesterday in Azure Static Websites, and apart from forgetting package.json and then forgetting to put a build script in the package.json file, apart from that, it worked. Like once I solved that, it was really easy to get up and running. I would really like to get the files into Markdown on Git rather than being locked up in a platform. Yeah, but can't decide whether to do the sensible thing of using Jekyll to Eleventy or build my own platform from scratch with Blazor. Well, obviously that comes down to personal choice. You might not want to reinvent the wheel. I guess it depends what other projects you've got on the go and whether you want to use it as a pulling teeth out learning exercise. I would have thought it would be easier to use something like Eleventy or Jekyll, but I can see why you might want to try it. It's just up to you, isn't it? It depends how much you want to suffer. Added old posts, date issues, work in progress. Now we want all of these. Actually, yeah, we need all of it together. So if we commit that, and we push. When I think about mobile apps, I want to massively minimize my spend. Hosting dollars adds up. Yep. So, So as I mentioned earlier, before you joined, Glenn, there's a developer evangelist at Twilio called Corey Weathers, who does a lot of .NET streams, and he's fantastic, great guy, really good friend of mine. But like the rest of us, he's terrible for starting a project and not finishing it. So I spun up a Azure Azure static, not static, Azure website, hosted website in ASP.NET Core MVC. That's literally just a static page that jokes about how long it's been since you clicked File New. I could have done it as a static page in all fairness and just shoved it up for a lot less. But everything was just starting to add up. And I think that was costing me $70 a month just to run that. And similar for this blog. So I'm just on a mission to save some money. Because, it's not that I want to have a load of my, free credits I get from Microsoft left every month because, they're kind enough to give them to me. I might as well use them. But I was just ending up in a situation where I was burning through all the credits. I would like to have at least, 20 to 30, maybe even $50 a month left. That's free to play with other things. Now, if I move these over, the joke website for Corey isn't online at the moment anyway. So that's not costing me any money. And obviously my blog is. But if we can do this, it's going to save me loads of money. And then I've just got all these credits left for playing with new things. And I've got an MX chip under the desk that I can play with IoT Hub and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know if it's something about like this year and the pandemic and stuff, but a lot of us seem to be thinking more about, cost saving or having the time to think about these things. And so I just sat down on the portal and was like, this stuff's costing me a fortune and it really shouldn't. So that's why we're here. So we push this, but if we have a look at GitHub, we should find that we have an action. Let's refresh this page. Cool, so this is building. Azure storage accounts can host static web content. Nice. Well, Azure's got a static web apps feature and preview now, which is what this is doing. And it automatically creates your GitHub action. Also, hey Grumps. But yeah, so what it does is it goes through and just does a bit of CI/CD automatically for you. So we can build the container, and then the build and deploy is the interesting bit. So build and deploy. So yeah, so it goes through, and don't worry about this stuff, it's because we don't use it yet, but it goes through and builds it all, and it automatically gives us a page. So if we refresh this now, boom, it zoomed in. I have a page up on the internet. Woo! The storage account may wind up the most cost effective. Yeah, possibly. Yeah. So I'm using Azure Static Web Apps, which was only announced at Build this year. So if we just jump on the portal, I can just show you. Of course, yeah, go for it, Grumps. I don't block links because I've got moderator view open anyway to read the chat and also manage it because I don't have many mods. And it's cool. Yeah, so Azure Apps is a new thing. So if we go, so this is a static web app. So it's in preview, but it's super useful. So yeah, it's a good place to start. Okay, yeah, so maybe the static web app fixes the issue I was talking about with CDN, custom domain, and HBS. Oh, nice. Yeah, so if you've not, I'm going to find the blog about it, and I'm going to link it in the chat for you lot because it's super useful. But yeah, so essentially, as of Build this year, they've announced static web apps, which possibly does solve some of the issues you mentioned, because stuff like custom domain is supposed to be super easy. Like, it's literally there. And you just add one. You add the CNAME and stuff, which I've currently got in Cloudflare. But I'm just going to put this in chat for you, in case of its interest, because this is all about learning together. So let's just bring over this page Gramps mentioned. No, wrong one. Oh no, where is it? Oh, there you go. So static website hosting. Oh, cool. That's nice. Interesting. Yeah. So this is an interesting one, but I don't know the comparison. So this was released in May, which was before around build. Might have been before build. I think build was like later this year. So how it compares to static, the new static web site stuff, I don't know. But certainly this is helpful. So yeah, it might be that we end up trying this route as well if the CDN issue that Lachlan mentioned still applies, where the website hosting is cheap as chips, but the CDN stuff starts to add cost. We use a storage account static hosted blog as a portion of our system at my day job. Oh, nice. Well, if I find that it's not saving me money like I wanted to, then we can always learn about this. For just the next step will be migrating this to that. But for now, yeah, we have this static web apps thing. It's in preview, but that's fine. It's a cloud architect and DevOps manager IRL. Oh, nice. Yeah, we have those at work, but I don't talk to them as much. Well, only about like the one project, but that's good to know. I know who to hunt down now if I need some help. But yeah, so at the moment it's on a funky website URL. But as you saw, all I did was push it, and it went through and built it within minutes. There you go. Succeeded in 1 minute 20 seconds. So the whole thing, I don't know how long the whole thing took, but I bet you it didn't take long. Yeah, the whole thing took 1 minute 33 seconds to build and deploy once I pushed the code out, which I think is pretty cool. And now it's live. Still looks like trash, but no one knows it's there, so that's okay. I mean, shh, you know it's there. That's okay. But we've got it up, and, you know, we can... Ah, okay, so these don't work. Fine. But we can solve that. So we can solve we can do a find and replace to fix the issues with the things. So, say we're in... What? Okay. Posts. So we're in posts, and we're in, say, story into code. That's the first one. So it was saying that the image is up to, so that's up into posts, up into site. Oh, I need to go up one more. Let's see. So we need to find. So I think if we do okay, so all of these we need to replace with // I think. It's a bit of a experiment here with CI/CD, but this is one of the great things about the fact that it's so quick to push and build, because we really can just experiment with this. So that's just the pictures. Yep, that looks right. So let's just do it. Replace. So we go on to GitHub Desktop again. I know we could do this from command line, but why not? Updated image. Relative paths. So we can push that. So hopefully now it will push those up and we can start to play around with it. So that should build it again. So if we just watch it, it didn't take long, so we might as well watch. refresh the page. And we can watch it happen. It genuinely doesn't take long. So that will go through and sort it all out. Although we can easily test this out actually, because we can load the HTML rather than the markdown. Because the problem with the markdown is that when it's just here as a file, if we previewed it in code, the relative paths would be wrong because we need to put the relative paths in to where it will be when it's deployed. But if we have a look at this, for example, we can upload registers. No thanks. Okay, it's not that simple from here, but yeah, so this should fix that problem. The relative paths now should be right for when it's deployed in underscore site. We can soon find out. I keep trying to move this box, but it's not a box, is it? White Panther introduced me to a fun extension yesterday, which was make GitHub dark. So let's do that. While we wait, dark reader. GitHub dark reader. There you go, GitHub dark mode. Nice. Let's try it and see. I think it should just work. There you go. So now GitHub should be dark. If we refresh. There we go. And it's done as well, so we can refresh the page. So it's no worse. That's a good start. The image is still broken. Why? So now this is a problem I've seen previously, and I know what the issue is now. So the paths are right now, which is why the icon is showing up, but the images are missing because we have to add something called, if we find it from bin. So for those that weren't here yesterday or weren't around earlier when I mentioned this is one of my multiple attempts at doing this. And so I've got a few things in my trash bin on my MacBook that are actually quite helpful. I can't just copy and paste the whole thing because it broke, but some of the stuff that I want should be here. So we want that's one. Just put it on the desktop for now. So the way that Eleventy works with configuration is that it has you can pass stuff in. So this is that format, but then we want to pass through images. So we want to steal this bit for the config, but we're going to put it. So I'm going to add one in here, but we're going to pass through images. So what that's saying is for the images folder, copy it. It doesn't copy it out of the box, so that's why I think that's why the images aren't showing. So if we go back to GitHub and we say added, why's 45 files change? What's changed? Oh, there's the images. Hey. So it's including all the images now, which is the problem that didn't happen before. So we're going to say added config to copy images folder. So what should happen now is that should upload. So we may find that I was right last time with the paths, and now the paths will be broken because I think they might be, they're inside site, so I think we need to undo what I did previously. So we're going to find all of that. So it's book. And we're gonna replace it all with there. We're gonna replace it all with that. So it should be right now. If we have a look, yeesh. So we're gonna find everything that is .. /m, because we don't want majors, we want images. And we're gonna replace it with .. /I. So if we try that now. Oh my god. This is going so well. But essentially, what I'm trying to do is get the relative paths right, because I've forgotten to copy the images. The images will end up in sight, so they were at the right path before. It's just that I needed to tell it to actually copy those images folders. So now that should be right. So fixed images relative path. Now images folder is copied by Eleventy. Commit that. Push it. Push it. Boop, 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 boop. But if these work, we'll have another victory dance. So let's have a look. So that pushed. Nice. So it's gonna. Is this gonna work? That is the question. So it's just thinking about it. Nice, nice. Right, so we've got that going. So yeah, we're fixing the images, so hopefully that won't take too long. But hopefully this will start to work. That won't work yet, obviously, but we're getting there. So we've got the list of posts. We've got the date in. We need to delete those 2 blog posts that we don't need anymore. We don't need. It's not in site that we care. It's in posts. So we want to get rid of post 1 and post 2. Because they were just as part of the tutorial that I followed yesterday. We don't need them anymore. Moved initial test. Post file. Test. Posts. That ran a build again, but that's fine. As long as the first one's finished so that we can check how it's looking. Thinking about it. So this is the fun bit. It's not going to tell me anything. Okay. Yeah, essentially what should happen is it will run the npm build script that it found in the package.json, which will run everything in Eleventy, and then it will start everything. There we go. So if we refresh this now, it still works. But if we go into it, woo, we have pictures! Again, the whole thing looks terrible because there's no styling and stuff, but at least we've got the images in. So that's good. So that makes me happy. And then obviously it'll build it again to delete those posts, but that's where we need to didn't mean to delete that. Don't need that one over. So yeah, so this looks terrible, but at least we've got the pages. So we haven't got the pointless ones. We just need to get everything in reverse. And some of these dates aren't working. I don't know why. So these are right. Why did I go wrong after that? So it's after. So those don't need to be there, but the alumni panel should be right. Cool. So if we refresh this. You see, this is what confuses me. So these pages are still showing up, even though I got rid of them. I thought I did. Have I got any errors back? What's going on? So, ignore site for a minute. So let's delete that. Let's delete these two. Probably should be doing this in site, but I'm just hoping that it's just a cache problem. You never know. So we've got everything there now. There shouldn't be any unwanted apart from that. There we go. So that should all be okay. So remove unwanted test files and folders. So we can push that up. Let's just double check that nothing's broken. No, we're good. So that's progress. Woo! So we've got all the pages in now, so that's the start. But hopefully now it should behave as we expect around the list. So we'll have a look again once that's finished, because I think some of it was linked to that weirdness, but I'm just trying to work out why some of these aren't right. Because that's definitely the right date. So, yeah. Dashes. Date. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Strange. Can always do a empty cache and hard reload when it's built, or whatever the Firefox equivalent is. Who knows? 2 queued jobs. Okay. Getting there. So we'll wait for that to get started. Why is it queued? Oh, this is quite cool. If you've not seen this before with GitHub Actions, is you can look at the workflow file. So this is the YAML file that it creates for you. So if you've ever done Docker and done like Docker files, it follows the same idea. So it gives it a name. It's saying that when you push master any of these pull request types, whatever, then this is a job. So if it's a push or anything like that, it starts to use Ubuntu under the hood to just do all this stuff. So I didn't have to write any of this. It automatically did the work for me, which is helpful. But it's thinking about it. I tried to do too much too quickly. Why is it waiting? We'll be patient. But anyway, website should still be live, so how do we empty cache and hard reload? Okay. Okay, so it's not up to date yet, but I don't know what's going on with that date. This is what I don't understand. But let's just see if there's anything else in here that was useful. So, the base layout. That was our base layout. Nice. So then that's that Nunjux template. steal that. We're going to look at it locally. So let's just comment that out for now. So we're saying we've got an alias. So for all the posts, have the URL, the title, and then the date. So we're going to do that. So that should do the trick. How does it look? No different, that's a start. Do we get any errors? Nope. Why is it not in reverse order? I don't get. Let's close Eleventy and let's see where we're at. So just do Eleventy first. So it's Eleventy-serve. There we go. So it's 8080. So if we come back to our website and do localhost 8080, we have our blog. So it's still broken, but at least it's no broken than it was before. So that's all okay. Maybe we don't need a title. So it's pagination. What if we... I'm wondering if it's a nunchucks thing. So I'm going to switch it to be a nunchucks. It's just NGK extension. It doesn't make much difference. So I'm going to rename this to NJK. It's got that layout. So that looks right. Did it blow up? Nope. So it saw that the file changed, so that's something. So it should just look no different. Okay, the dates are still wrong, but at least we have content still. So what's going on? So we can take this stuff out because we know it works. Why does it not work? We're going to try includes layout.liquid. So what do we say that the base layout should look like? Okay, and create a base layout. Okay. So we're going to copy this. We're going to change this to be a layout.njk. We're going to change all of this to be coding with Luce. We don't need the header right now. And we don't need the footer right now. We just need the content. And then we're going to find all references to layout.liquid. We're going to replace them with layout.njk. Check that all still works. So console's happy. Browser should be happy. So it's still broken, but it's the same as it was before. So moving templating engines is fine. So that's what we said that the layout should be. Yeah, it's talking about nunchucks files. So we've done that. So our post.json should have the right. Have a look. So in posts, we said that we were going to do. Yeah, so that's layout.njk. So that's something. So that's date in the tags. Post for collection.post. Okay. So that's, will that help? Or will that make it worse? Hey, it worked! Look at that. Okay, so the reason that it wasn't working was because the posts.json was set to give everything a tag of posts, plural, but actually the layout was looking for posts, singular. So now we've got everything in reverse order, but we're missing some next page buttons. But we can work on that. In fact, we can even do it. Here's what I prepared earlier. So that was all that stuff we saw before. We're not worried about excerpts right now. Because, excerpt might be nice, because this is just a section bit. Okay. So this does it with a base layout and then the post layout on top of the base layout. So that's got the header, the footer, doesn't matter. And then on top of that, I'm sure there was a post layout. That was index. Yeah, so we've got the title and thing, but we want to excerpts. Yeah, so this is what we want. So I said earlier that we were going to skip this, but I actually think it's quite nice. So I think what happens is, out of the box, it doesn't give you any kind of preview in this bit here. You can implement this idea of excerpt. So if you were here earlier watching me delete content, you would have seen me delete some stuff inside of a HTML comment that said excerpt start and end. What this will do is if it can't find an excerpt into a post, it will just use the first paragraph, which is what we want. So yeah, as it's saying here, Eleventy doesn't have support for like previews like that, but we can add it in with a shortcode. So at the bottom of the Eleventy file, we can put this in. So we can do that. Let's go back to that Eleventy file after the module exports, it said. Yep. So what this is saying is for the article, which you saw the article tags, for each article, if it has the start and end separators, then do stuff with it. Where have I gone wrong? After that, we need those two bits. So that should be happier. So nothing will have an excerpt yet, but it should at least display something, unless it's broken. From within the module exports function, register the extra. Okay, so we need to, and then set it up. We can do that. Yeah, there you go. So the shortcode will take the HTML output and return the content between those two tags, or the comments. If the comment tags aren't found, then it will just return the first paragraph. So that's what we want. So inside of our module exports, we want to have this configuration added in. So we can do after that, we can do that. Update the blog post markdown files to wrap. Yeah, that's fair enough. So then we just need to use it. There we go. So that's what we want. So if we go back to that index, so we're saying on the home page that we want to do some customizations. So link at the bottom of each excerpt. So now we just need to use it. So before the read more. Okay, so we're going to do it like that. So we've got for each post, have the title, and we want to replace with that. So that's putting in date time, but we actually want the date time. Because we're copying what's already there for me, I'm going to put this before the title. This is formatted all wrong. How do we edit? Really? Selection. Oh, we can just do, is it Command-Shift-P, format document. Okay, we need to install the formatter. Fair enough, we can do that. 11,000 downloads, that seems about right. Cool, so if we do that again. Nice, there we go. So now we're saying put the date first, then the title, then the extract, and then the URL and a read more. So if we save that and take a look here. Problem writing 11 to templates, having trouble. Template content ender, line 9, column 8. Line 9, column 8. What are we doing wrong? How does it? What have we done wrong? I did that bit. Okay, so if we look at a blog post, we don't display the title or the date available. We can create a nested layout. What's the output? The post title and the date. What's going on? What's it called? So, have a look at the GitHub. So, here's index. Looks like so. So if we paste that in, but this is just going to be layout. Maybe we should do it with layout. Let's have a look. So what's his layout look like? Includes base layout. Here's like so. So he's got a header and about, and then he's got the content. So that's nothing fancy. We can work with that. That reminds me. I saw a good font yesterday. Google Fonts. Called Work Sounds. Work Sounds. There we go. Okay. That work sounds. Okay, but how do we... What one do we want? I guess we want regular. Let's embed it. Because why not? Just for fun. But if we go into here, it's going to be... How did he do it? He put it... it was in the base layout. In head. What difference does that make? Okay, so stuff's still broken, but we're working on it. So we're going to update this to be base layout. So we've got the base layout. And that's just the only bits that we actually care about in there with that. We'll worry about the CSS later, but there's font, style sheet, and then the main content, which we've already got. And then we want a post layout. And that's like that. We want a new file, which is post-layout.njk. So that's, yeah, base layout. We have the date, time, and the content. That seems fair. For each article, let's put the date above it. Cool. So we've got our article going with layout. So what we need to do now is we need to do another layout.njk, match the forward. And yes, we just need to update this to say that we are going to use post-layout. So let's just check terminal. Should be fixed now. So that broke because the layout didn't exist, but we'll just kill this off quickly and run it again. It should be happy. Where am I trying to use one that doesn't exist? There. So index is going to use base layout. That should fix that. Let's try again. Having trouble rendering NGK template. Unknown block tag. Rah. What am I missing? So we've got the includes. Base layout. And post layout. So we're going to search for excerpt in this repository. So we've got that one. Yeah, so it's just in his posts. But okay. It should just work. Why does it not work? Look, it's 11t.js file. all should just work. So I'm just going to view it as raw. Navigate your code with these. Oh, nice. Click on a function. Oh, that's clever. Anyway, we're going to steal this because it's just config. Just want to make sure that it's consistent. So, Eleventy.js. Is that going to work better now? Seems that way. Hey, look! Huzzah! We have previews. It looks trash, but we have previews. Okay, so we need to sort out the layout with the date. But we're getting somewhere. Whoop, whoop. This is cool. So, if we go back here to our base layout. Nope. There we go. Got the title. It wasn't there. It was the read more. Where's that from? Posts. That's the link index. Okay. So this is where it's doing funny stuff, and this might be where CSS comes in handy, but it should just be on a new line. Does that look better? So that's the date. And then the read more should be on a new line as well. Just put a break in. Actually, put 2 breaks in. Someone's going to tell me that this is awful CSS and that I shouldn't be doing it. It's not even CSS, sorry. It's awful web development and I should not be just putting breaks into force gaps, but that's better. There you go. Okay. So it looks terrible, but we have the content up. So now we can actually push this. So let's have a look. So what have we changed? So we've added in excerpt functionality, moved to a base and post layouts structure. I think that's right. Yep. Push those changes. Whoop whoop. It's going well. Let's see how we go. So that should be building now. So it looks terrible, but we're getting there. So that's queued. Cool, so it's doing its thing. See how we go. See how we're getting on. So it's building and deploying, so it'll be ready soon. So let's just see what's happening. We're getting there. Thinking about it. So let's just see what's going on. So hopefully this is, yeah, so this is live now. So if we refresh the page, we should see. Hey, there we go. So now the changes that we made are actually on the internet. Whoop! Let's celebrate. So that's cool. So we've got this up onto a static website. Obviously, it's not got a URL or anything yet, and it looks terrible. But at least we've actually got the content in, which I think is pretty exciting. Whoop! Is it using? I don't know that one. I want here. I want to know what font it's using. The font is. Hey, Frank is here. This is another reason to celebrate. Frank deserves a shout out because he's awesome. You go live in a couple of hours, don't you, Frank? How cool. Yeah, I mean, this isn't anything as fancy as you do. This is just me, yeah, morning. This is just me trying to migrate my blog. So basically, I currently use Ghost. So, as you know, I can edit for James, and he uses Ghost. And so he got me into Ghost because I loved how easy it was to kind of sit on my phone on the tram and stuff and edit his posts. And so that got me into Ghost, so I followed suit. But Ghost being hosted by Ghost was just more expensive than I wanted to pay. Then I discovered, so after a year, I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. Then I was like, okay, I found a way to get Ghost blogs hosted on Azure as a app service. And that was great, but it just was burning through a lot of my MVP credits. And so I'm just trying to learn Eleventy, which is a static site generator, and migrate the blog, because in theory, using Azure Static Web Apps service, which came out of build and is now in preview, it should cost me like a few pounds a month rather than like 70. So just to test the CI/CD pipeline, I did actually hook it up already. It's not live at any URL yet, because obviously I'm not going to move this over until my stuff looks like that or as good as that. But it's a start. And now that we've actually got the pages in, we can start doing styles. So one of the things that we had to do earlier, if we just get rid of this. Do you know, Frank, you're like the third person that said to me today they've been thinking about static sites. I think it's just becoming more and more of an option as we think about how much we spend on hosting and stuff. But yeah, essentially, I'm just going to stream the whole process of creating this, migrating my blog over. So yesterday we started out just working out how to get the pieces to work together. Then we got it up onto a static web app, and then today we've sat and done is migrate all these old blog posts over. So the content's there now. There's just no styling, but that's the next step. So if we go to the Eleventy configuration file, zoom out a bit. There should be here. So we're saying copy CSS, but we're also going to say to copy. I don't know if this will work, but copy. It's not styles we want to copy. It's styles. I prefer to call it styles, but we're also going to add. So like that, it's going to be like that. I don't know. So we're going to do. Let's have a look at the docs. Let's do that scary thing called looking at the documentation. So if we go to Eleventy, not Elgato, Eleventy. So if we go to Eleventy, if we go to the Eleventy site, it's got quite good documentation, so we should be able to find what we actually want to know about. Docs, there we go. So I want to know about pass-through. There we go, pass-through file copy, because I want to copy more than one folder, but I want to know if you have to do it on separate lines or whether you can do multiple. So CSS isn't currently recognized, but it will search for any .css. Okay, so essentially, yeah, we need to do this. Oh yeah, manual pass-through. So, okay, so we have to do it separately. So this is what I wanted to know. Do we have to do them individually? And the answer is yes. So we've got that one, but we also want to do Eleventy config.add pass-through copy. We wanted to do images. So that's cool. I'm also going to make that styles, because everything else has got capital letter. So now at the same level as images, which is the base of the project, if we create a new folder called styles, we can then have a style sheet. We're going into CSS, people. That'll be okay. We've got this. So let's just start off with. So what was the example they used? Images and fonts. If you use a subdirectory, it'll copy using the same structure. Okay. Yeah, so relative to the root of your project, not your Eleventy input directory, okay? So we also want to add fonts, because we look at this, didn't we? And I don't think it's using the. Oh, it is using work sound. So if we change that to Korea new, save it. Yeah, see, it's not doing anything. That's because it's everywhere. Okay, never mind. So if we go to, say, this article block on the H1, just bring this up a bit so it's easier to see. So I want to have a look at the styles on these. So we style somewhere. That's a layout. And the article. We want Korean new, Korean new, Korean new. Yeah, so it doesn't seem to be changing anything. Interesting. Well, we'll play with it. We'll play with it locally anyway, and we'll see what's going on. It might just be it's easier to do the fonts as local fonts. So we just want regular 400. I guess we want regular 400. Semi-bold. And then, okay, so we can download the family, okay. That might be it. I mean, fonts is nothing, but it's just a nice little test that the everything's hooked up. I mean, obviously the easiest way to do that is just to give everything an ugly background. So we can say we want to create a new file. We're going to call this styles.css. We're going to say that the so in our base template, we did, I'm putting a tag, it's not HTML. In the index, okay, so for article, we can say background color. It's going to be, oh, this is crazy, but I'm only doing this because it's a nice and obvious way of knowing that the style's been hooked up. So if we go to, oh, thanks for the follow, Frank. I do have follow alert set up, but I'm not quite sure how well it actually works. It should appear, but it never seems to. But if we go to our base layout, we can say link href equals. So we're at layouts. It's going to be boop, 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 styles.css rel equals style sheet. Should be it, right? Soon find out, I guess. I mean, this is kind of stuff I could look up, so I don't know why I'm questioning myself. There we go. So it's ugly as sin, but at least we know that the CSS is hooked up, right? So that's cool. So we can undo all of that. Don't need that background color. So we're going to say that for the article, the font family is work. Font family. Let's do it again. Right. Font hyphen family is. So it's not going to find this yet, but we'll add this. So it's going to tell us how to use it. About work. So it's a typeface. That's okay, but how do we use it? It's so popular, but how do we embed? Embed a font, copy the code into the head, okay. Okay, so CSS rules. Okay. And then we're saying that this font is there. That should work, right? Sure, I deleted that. Did I not save it? I did. Something broken? Nope. What's going on? Let's have a look. Why is it? That shouldn't be there. Okay, so that works, but it's not dating for some reason. So we're going to kill that. We're going to just double check everything. So this is font family. It's like that. The base layout calls that. Nice. So that's something. So we know that the link to the page is right. Then that's the font, the content. Okay, so that should be right. So let's just clear this and start again. So let's save our page. Let's do stuff for styles, site posts. So if we refresh this page. Oh, there we go. Hey, look, we're making progress. Woo! So we have some nice, easy to read font. I can work with that. What font was actually on my page, out of curiosity? This was from a theme. So let's just go. So margin, display block, heritage. This font. Font family is Carla Sans Serif, okay? How does that look? Unless it doesn't find it. Let's see. So styles. Reload the page, yep. What does this? Doesn't seem to handle it very well. Oh, unless it gets overwritten by that call at the top. Let's see. So does it change if we change this to work sounds? I prefer work sounds anyway. Fair enough. I don't think it could find Carla, which is why it didn't work, but that's okay. I'm happy enough for that. So if we go back to here, change. I'm going to change anything. We're just going to change this to be work sounds. So that's cool. Okay, so that's okay. That looks nice enough. So, what else do you want to do? So, okay, we're going to start. Let's have a look. So we've got a header, I think. So that's the, like, got a section, got a header. Ah, so it's got a whole div first. So, it has a div first of all. So this will just be an index. So we need to, like, split the screen for this. So if we do, will this work? Nope. Never works for me. Anyway, okay, so we don't need so many tabs open. But we got the font updated, so let's just push this while we think about it. Because that's always a good start. So we have added in CSS style sheet and custom font. Let's have a look at open. Have a look at this file. Because you get the this download's gone. iCloud Drive. Let's just open this in. So it's downloads. And then we want show and finder. There we go. So work sounds. Will be somewhere here. W, X. So many Xamarin references. So let's have a look. So we just want to find work sounds. There we go. Nice. So have a look at work sounds. It gives us the TTF files. Let's read the README. This download contains work sounds. Just zoom in. If your app fully supports variable fonts, you can now pick intermediate, okay? Android. Interesting. License. Okay, so we should be alright with that. I'll leave that for now. We can always come back to it. But we want to start doing things. So, how's this doing? Let's just check on our job. Nice, so that's done. So if we refresh this now. There we go. So we have our new font. Woohoo! So that's a good start. So now we can start to do more with the actual styles. So we want this a bit smaller. Nope, it's the opposite of what I wanted. I just want this on like half the screen. So don't need that right now. What we want is code, because we want to be able to make these changes and watch it change. So we can say that in our index, we want to have, before all the posts, there's a div. So we do want the website open. So we saw that from here, we had a space 1080p. I like space. So it's a good picture. So actually, we don't even need to do that. We can literally steal it from website. Inspect element. So we want that background image which lives here. So we can just slap that on the end. And ta-da-da-da! We can save the image. So we can put it in our Coding with Luce final images. That's global. Space 2. Don't know what space 1 is. Let's have a look. Images, global, space 2. I like space 2. Okay, so we have space 2. So how do we do the background image in the div? Go back. So style is a background image, okay? But it has a class. So we can say that our div is going to have a class equal to, what we're going to call it? Let's see. home header. We give it uppercase? No, we'll call it home header. We can say in our styles that classes is that was that ID. That's class, isn't it? So home header. What's it complaining about? Do not use empty rule sets. Oh, it's ID. God's sakes. Dot. There we go. Class home header. So that's going to have a background image, and that's going to be we're in styles. So it's going to be up one to images to global to space2.png. Okay, but did that work? That's the question. Okay, so the site's not live right now, so that's not helping. So if we go back to here, refresh the page, what's going on? Why is it broke? Okay, so let's take a step back. It could be a style sheet, so let's just cheat first of all, and we're going to copy that image, and we're going to stick it in styles, paste. So then in our image we can say that should just be space2. What's going on? So built, file change in styles. Okay. Maybe we can do it like that. So it'll be background image will be CSS div background image. Background image property. There we go. Good old W3 schools. Customize choices. No thanks. How do I decline everything? Okay. Set a background. Okay, so it is URL. So that's the problem. It's not the location of it, it's how it's written. So it should be URL, double quotes, images, global, space2. So I can get rid of this file. Don't need that. So that should be right now. So that's reloaded. Oh, am I missing a... should be okay, shouldn't it? Got the brackets for the article, and then the home header should have the two curly braces. So if we just check this is still running, yep. Okay, so that's not worked. But maybe we need to have a header or something. Or div is just a poor example. So rather than being so an index, we want to do just literally want to put in an image. Right. Be a header. Have a look how it's doing it on my existing site. So you have, yeah, so it's just an opening and closing div. There's some background stuff applied. So where does that end? So that includes the extra stuff. So that's a div because it's got extra content in it. I guess we could do a header. Header. Class equals, what do we call it? Home header. Home header. Because that's got the div. And it's got stuff inside of it. So we've got it as a, what's going on? So we've got a head. And that's that's got a background image. What is the image though? The path is right because it auto completed for me, but just trying to think the best way to make this actually appear. Welcome to coding with Luce. See if that'll make it come to life. Okay, there we go. So the header's there now. That's something. We just need some content. Okay. So, what size is this? 5760 by 1080. Width. New width. Maybe we just need to do the display block. Okay, so that's fair enough. Let's see. So we got the, what's that one? Don't need animations. Background. So we can copy these two. See if that helps. Why is that? Offset. I'm missing a. Oh, CSS doesn't. Oh, maybe CSS does do colons. Okay. Okay, that's progress. Still too thin, but we can have a look at the height. So, computed. So this thing has the size. So it's width and height. So we can copy that. So width is going to be 1696. It's very specific. 1696.67px. Height is going to be 418.958px. So if we save that now, there we go. So we're getting there. Maybe the width should just be 100% width. 100%. Okay, that broke it. Oh, why? Honestly, you'd think as a C# developer I wouldn't be forgetting semicolons. Okay, so we've got the header. So now we can change that back to being a div because I want stuff inside of it. That's going to be a div. It's going to be a div. Cool. So we can get rid of the text. But now we can just start slowly building it up. So we know from here that it then has a header. Don't worry about that stuff. So what's the CSS for that? Site header inside. Display flex, okay. So interesting. For house. Okay, so it has the position stuff. So it has multiple headers. So we've got the main div, and you've got the image. Then inside of that we want a header. Do we though? Let's see. So that's all that stuff, but really I want that section. Fancy themes and all their buried stuff. So yeah, essentially I want a hero title. So I want to copy this element. Copy element. So that's going to go inside of here. And then we'll change that. Copy. So we're going to change this to be home header title. So we're going to do a dot home header title. If we have a look at that now, so it's got stuff there. How do we make it visible? That's the next question. So we've got our welcome. That's inside of an inner, which is display block. So why is that not appearing? Home header title. Home header title. So it's seeing the styles. We just need to work out how to do the content. So it's one, So it's a div. We can call header wrap. Let's just break this down and try and replicate. So it's a div class header wrap. And then it's going to be close the div. Header wrap has these CSS properties. So we can say our, what do we call it? Home. We call it header wrap. So header wrap, like so. Okay. So we've got our div, like so. Div is constantly display block. Okay. Div display block. How's it looking? Still okay? Yep. So let's see. We've got the header. Then we've got the, so that does that. We've got that one with the background image. So let's try opacity 1.5. How does that look? Cool. So we're still missing the welcome. That one, the front inspector. There should be a welcome somewhere. Body, main, div, home header, welcome. Why is it not visible? Okay, font size. Let's see it. This is where my knowledge is like, ooh, what's going on? So put the URL. Header. Maybe I need to inherit some extra stuff. Now it's an H2. So all H2. Still work? Let's see. Okay. It's got to throw things in, it's just not showing. Okay, maybe we don't. So this picture is in home header. Maybe we don't need header wrap. Let's format. So for home header title, font, oh, it's text color, isn't it? Text color. More color. What is the let's make it black. That should work. So if we check this now, this is picking up black, but why can't I see it? What am I missing? Okay, so rather than trying to literally copy, let's just have a look. So text and text over image CSS. Have a look. How to position text over an image. Okay. So you've got the container and then you've got the image. Okay, we can work with that. So we start with the container, which we've got. So that's our home header. Then we have div class equals title, so that's going to be a div. And then add the CSS. So the container is position relative text align center. Okay. So that's our outer div. So that's our home header. Let's see. And then our centered text should be here. How's that look? Okay, we're getting somewhere. It's messed up the image size though. We've got the index. We just have home header and home header title, so we don't need header wrap. Font size. Let's have a look. So, what's going on here? Okay. Let's see. Okay. So, if we have a look at the so it's definitely applying, but what's going on with the image? So let's just strip this all back. Okay. So we can strip all this back. Let's just follow W3 schools. So reel it in. So if we have a look at W3 schools, it said that you want a div called container. We're going to call it header just because it makes sense. Header. Got a div class header. Then we're going to have an image inside of that. Image source equals let's see. What was there previously? Was it was in styles, wasn't it? So going to be that. So then that's the image, and then you want another div for the text. We're going to call that header title, and that's going to be welcome. So if we save that, then we can add the CSS. So we want we called it header. So in our CSS, we're going to want a dot header, and that is a class. So we can paste that. And then it says for the text, which we called header dash title. Okay, so if we go back to here, just double check, we called it header dash title, yep. Header dash title. So even if the image is wrong, we should see the header. So if we just do an index, so it should be like that. Right, okay. So in our div class equals header, we're going to do a background image equals URL, and that's going to be images global space 2. So we check this out now. That didn't work. So let's just copy that and do what I just did. Will that work? Nope. Let's see what's going on, shall we? What if we make it we'll make it Okay. Image source equals images slash space 2.png. Might do the trick. Not yet. Upload the image. Hello. So hero image. That's what we want. Oh, okay. This is exactly what we want. Hero image. Okay. The hero image is a large image of text, often placed at the top of the order. Okay. Yep. Okay. So we've got an outer div and an inner div. Okay. So let's just make this smaller again, so we'll get this right eventually. So div class equals okay. Div class equals hero image. I call it hero image because now I've discovered it's a real thing. Hero image. And then div class equals hero text. Div. And then inside of that, we want an H2 that says welcome. And then we want a P that says, what does it say? There we go. That's the stuff. Back to this tutorial. So we've got our text. We don't need a button. Cool. And then we end the divs. Then in the CSS, we're going to say that get rid of all of this. Apart from that. So we're going to say body HTML height is 100%. Dot hero image. Background image. Interesting. We can also do opacity, so I'm just going to do URL. That's going to be images global space 2. I'm going to set the opacity to 0.5. So we've done that. Set a specific height. Height is going to be, let's say the height was. Height of this is height. Computed height is 418 pixels. We're going to say that the width is 100%. Nice. So we've got that going. Position and center the image. Pop that in. And then we've got to do the text. So we called it hero image and hero text. Yep. So the next one is going to be the .hero text. And we're going to say text align center, position absolute, so it doesn't change, top 50% left, 50%, so go halfway down and halfway in, so the middle. Transform minus 50% minus 50%. Minus 50 minus 50. Color, what? I don't know why it's white. To be honest. Was that white text? Oh yeah. We might want black, but we'll try it and see. Okay, so it's not in the middle, but that's something. So we want it as black. So we've got the whole hero thing going, so now we can have a look back at this again. So that's the inside. Styles. Okay. So it's not used anyway. So where is it getting text align center? Text align center. Yeah, so that's something. So let's have a look. Whites. Okay, so the opacity might be on the wrong bit. Make it. Oh no. Okay. Okay, so this still looks amateur hour, but it's a start. Font family is work sans serif. So the text isn't big enough and it's in the wrong place, but we can work with this. So in hero text, yeah, hero text is a div, isn't it? Okay. And specifically the P. Okay, so let's just experiment. So don't need that. hero text P. It's going to be text align left. Justify. Style editor. We want computed. We want that one. C. Center. Left. See, this is the downside of CSS. Doesn't make a blind bit of difference. How do we get it to go that way? How does it do it on this page? So you've got the header, you've got the title, Is it because it's inside of a section? Yes. So it's inside of a section that's got text align center. So this stuff is inside of a section. And that's got a class of hero. And then in hero itself, we have a text align center. That look better? Not yet. Okay, so everyone's super quiet, so I'm going to stop for now, and I'm going to get something to eat and try and think about how we're going to get through this, because I don't want to just give it so many different blocks, but we might need to just to get it in the center. Let's just have a look. So try this off. So we've got the hero image. Hero text. Let's see. So if we copy these styles in, it's hero image, but that's not going to be photographer. It's going to be images global space 2. And we're going to do in the index, I'm going to get rid of all of that. I'm going to comment it out. We're going to say paste that lot. We don't need the button. How does that look now? Okay, what's the problem? What's going on? We've got div. Height is that. Okay, we're getting somewhere. So I need to update the text, but we've achieved what I wanted to achieve, so that's exciting. So, if we go back to the style, we want to steal the stuff that I commented out. So that should be A. That should be welcome. And then that should be like that. If we save that now, how does it look? Nice. So we need to sort out the font family. So I might say hero text H1. Hero text H1. Should be that. Should be font size 50%. Is that what it was before? Font size 50px. Okay. Edit. Redo. Edit. Redo. Control Y. Right. So we want to steal that for here. And then we want to take that away. And we want to say like so. And then we want to take the button out. How does that look? Right. And we want to say that the take all them out. So if we save that, hey, we're getting somewhere. Okay, so now we've got to that point. I'm going to deploy it. And I'm going to wrap up. We can always pick this up again another day, but this is good progress. So we've done our review. So now let's deploy it. So in GitHub, we're going to say that we added hero header. I'm going to commit that. We're going to push it. Nice. So now we can watch the action. So that's just going to build. Hopefully it won't take long. It's almost done. So once that's up, we'll have that header. Woo! Just wait. Build and deploy. See how we go. Good times. It's been fun though. We've made good progress. So let's just wait for that to deploy. Let's get in there. So it's just finishing all its bits and bobs. Come on. Yeah, there we go. Should be live now. Might be jumping ahead of ourselves here, but nope. Yeah, look. That text is a bit small. I might fix this up quickly so that instead of font size 50px, it's 75, and the hero text P is font size 50px. 40. How does it look? It's a bit big. 24. Font attributes weight, font weight, bold. Font weight, bold. How's that look? Bit, maybe 20. Although, let's get a hero text H1 color. It's going to be FF. Oh, it's going to be CC. Let's just get hex color up. Hex color picker. I want like a nice F. Let's just do it in here. Hex color picker. That looks quite nice. So that's copy. Paste. How does that look? Get rid of that tab. I Google. Oh, that works. How should we make the one at the bottom? I'm not a massive fan of white, especially because the page is white. Unless we make it black with opacity. Opacity of 1.5. Image. Okay, so let's just do. Right, first of all, let's do a good old-fashioned colour picker. F12. We do it in Firefox. That was giving me the option to pick a colour. I'm sure one of them was like, oh, there you go. Grab. Let's see. Color. Adobe color picker. Adobe color. There we go. Color palette generator. Look. That might be a bit dark. That might be nice. Let's have a look. That's pretty neat. Okay. So we've updated header, text styles, commit, push. So that should build, but we don't need it to be on Azure to put this on Twitter. So let's take a good old-fashioned picture. So we can put this on Twitter, and we can say, no web. Let's see. Good progress being made on migrating my blog to Eleventy. Let's see. So good progress being made on migrating my blog to Eleventy on stream. Today we have added in the old posts and made a very basic start on a hero, header, and styling. Way to go, but excited. And let's put in the image, desktop. Let's do it. So see how it looks. Cool. Nice. Well, it's been fun. Thank you everyone for coming by. I'm sure I'll no doubt stream again soon. As we carry on this website. But it's just been fun to do it together, and so I'm glad that everyone popped by. And I will see you all soon. 3, 2, 1, Bye.